Hey everyone, this is JM from the Casuals. Today we're going to go over this new event, the Golden Kingdom, which just came out yesterday. I managed to beat it on level 20. We are on a server that hasn't done KVK yet, so we're only using the basic champions. We're not even at Waisangye yet. So I'm going to give you all my tips and tricks on how I managed to do this. So first we're going to go through the basic rules. If you click here, you can see all the rules. So basically, you can bring up to 5 armies, similar to like Sunset Canyon, where you get to set up 5 armies at the beginning and then you keep them the entire way. You can never change them. So make sure that you put the 5 primary commanders that you are the strongest in with the most equipment and put the strongest troops with them. You will not lose them. There's no injuries outside in the real kingdom, so don't worry about that. As well, here you can see that technologies, talents, VIP, civilization bonus, city buildings, and special teams apply. So which means that if your technology is very strong in infantry, try and bring your infantry commanders and your infantry troops. Vice versa if you're cavalry and so on. But try and bring a bit of a mix because the armies you're going to be fighting are going to be mixed and there's going to be archers, infantry, and cavalry only armies. So if you have counters to that, it will help you greatly. So in this event, you basically spawn on a map. There's 20 levels, 5 of which are basically free levels where you basically get to buy items, get the reward, and the last one is the last level. So there's only real 15 levels. They're all covered with fog. So as you can see here, there's 3 different types of fog. Now, unclearable means you're not close enough to click it. Clearable, just click it and it will reveal. And then locked fog means you can't do anything because there's a barbarian or like a unit blocking it, a guardian. So you need to kill the guardian before you can access this fog. Now, there's a lot of structures in the Golden Kingdom. The best one, I would say by far, is the reinforcement camp. When you see this one, basically it will let you recruit an army. Healer's Hut basically heals 50% of your troops' health. So this is very, very strong, but they're quite rare. This one, Altar of Karuak, basically lets you revive a dead troop. It revives with a lot of little bit HP, so it's not that great, but at least you can revive it and then hopefully heal it. This Disc of Destiny is basically a Wheel of Fortune. Often you just get the currency, which is the gold of the kingdom, but if you're very lucky, you can get some very big buff. But they're quite rare, and my entire run through, I didn't get a single buff, so it was really useless for me. Now, Arrow Towers, if you see those, you need to explore the fog to them as fast as possible, because every time you explore a fog cube and this is up, it will attack your entire army, every single army you have, for 1% damage. So if you're clearing 10 for fog block before you kill this, you'll take 10% damage to all your units. Very bad. So you need to kill this very fast. There's also an item that lets you kill it from afar, so that's also very useful. Now, this basically just is the teleportation. When you've killed the guardian of the level, you go to the next level, so this doesn't really do anything special. And this secret market is basically, like I said, every 4 level, the free level where you get to buy stuff with the currency. So you will see it no matter what you do. And these are just walls, you can't pass through them, they're basically just blocking you. Now in the Golden Kingdom, there's blessings and relics. So relics are like items, are one-time use only. You will get a lot of them and you can only hold 9 at a time. So do not go over 9, as in if you have 8 or 9, use a few, because if you collect a new one, you won't be able to get it. Now blessings, you get them randomly from killing the monsters and the guardians, as well as some other areas. Sometimes when you go through them, you'll find a little thing on the floor and you click on it and it gives you a blessing. You can get them on the wheel as well. They're basically buffs that apply to your army for the entire duration, from the first level to the last level, and they stack on top of each other. They are absolutely amazing. It is probably the biggest aspect of this game. If you click here, as you see, this is my completed kingdom. If I click here, it will show me all the blessings that I used to beat it. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of them. Now, I'm going to start my guide with this because this is the biggest aspect of this game. Now, the way I did mine is I focused on anything that gives healing, because this is the most important thing in this game. You need your troop not to die to be able to go further, because once they die, it's really hard to revive them. You don't have a lot of the revive things. So as you see, there's a lot of health and there's a lot of like heal a portion of your units. I would say this one here really helps when you have Richard and stuff. It helps you heal more, and it applies to the other items that heal as well. And then I used this one here. So this was amazing. When your troop are less than 30%, you get 10,000 healing. As well as here, this one, after each battle, everything that survives recovers 15% of lost strength. So that is amazing. If you see anything that heals this way, you have to get them. Now, my second way of doing this is I focused on front row troops buff. So basically, it's like Sunset Canyon. There's a back row and a front row. Now, I put most of my troops in the front row. So there's 4 troops in the front row at all times. and they basically all get this buff. And this is amazing because it stacks like crazy. So this is here, 30% HP for the front row. Now, I had 30% defense on the front row here. I have 20% attack on the front row here. See here, I got another one, 20% front row, as well as all of these little buffs here. And it just kind of like all adds up. So basically my front row was boosted with like almost double HP and like 20-30% damage. Here again, more defense to the front row, more defense to the front row, more attack from the front row. And on top of it, I'm a very infantry focused, so I got a lot of infantry defense, infantry attack. So you want to boost yourself in a stacking way. So if you have a lot of infantry, you put them all in the front row, try and get a lot of infantry and front row stuff. If you, for example, have a lot of cavalry, you'll try and get cavalry stuff instead. But I would recommend always using front row buffs because it's much easier to have 4 armies in the front row and 1 in the back than it is to have 4 in the back and 1 in the front, because then the one in the front will often get swarmed by most of the armies on the other side, and you'll just lose it quite quickly instead of spreading the damage through all your armies. One special mention here would be this Fury of the Warrior and other stuff like this Rising Rage, which gives you rage regen. Now, I brought a lot of really strong commanders that do a lot of AoE damage and a lot of healing, as well as like Joan of Arc with her amazing buff that also generates rage. So basically this, you start with all your abilities full. So my Joan of Arc starts buffing people. As soon as the battle started, we're buffed. As well as we gain more rage. So basically you have the buff the whole time, you heal the whole time, you AoE the enemy the whole time. It makes you very, very strong. Rage is amazing in this game, as I'm sure you know by now. And I would say the best thing you can get in this entire thing is here, Conquer. You basically have an extra troop, so you have 6 armies. Now you're going to recruit a lot of armies in this event, so 6 armies is very easy to have. As you can see probably here, I had my first armies, which basically are 5, and you see all these ones with blue are the ones I recruited. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 armies recruited total. So I had 11 armies, and I still barely survived to the end. As you see, only my Sun Tzu and one of my recruited armies survived. So it is very important that you focus on stuff that brings more army, that buffs and heals your armies, because else you will not reach. It's really, really hard. One more thing about when you recruit armies. So basically, as you see here, all of these ones are recruited. It will give you the champion in the same way that you own it. So for example, here I don't have Ramses, so he came as a 1-0-0-0, which is not great, but considering what was optional for me, it was the best choice. And this Kunosoki was 5-0-0-0 because that's how mine is, because I haven't leveled him at all. So it is a good thing if you go and level the characters that you don't use, but they have talent points or they have levels to be put on that you haven't done so far. Same goes here for Hannibal Barca. I don't even own him. Now my Charles Martel is pretty strong, so this army was still okay. And as you see here, I had 2 Wai Song Yi armies. Now I don't have Wai Song Yi. My Elcid has 5-0-0-0, so he's not great. But still, they have troops with them. So at least it comes with as a fodder. It will help you still clear it. Now Wai Song Yi is still, while not great as 1-0-0-0, this is still an AoE damage factor. And it's still boosted if you're in the front row and if you have all these buffs from the rage generation from the other commanders. So he still ended up doing a lot of damage. And as you see, they come with a little bit of T5. Most of it is going to be T4 though. So it is very important that you choose the armies wisely. If there's a choice with something that you have expertise already, go for it. So as far as army composition go, this is what I did. So I have basically 2 very tanky marches. So this is Sun Tzu Richard, and this is Olgi Martel. So those are basically going to be the frontliners. My Sun Tzu Richard lived until the last level. They're very tanky and they heal a lot. And if you get the healing buffs, he will basically never die. He can solo quite a few armies by himself. Now, obviously, we have the Mina Cow here, which is the basic. I would say one of the most important marches that you have to bring for sure is this one. Now, this is Joan Aethelflaed, which is a full mixed army in order to get the bonuses from here. Basically, in this game mode, you generate so much rage that the buffs that she gives here give like full uptime. There's 100% uptime, it's always up. Now, this is 50 rage per second for every army that it buffs. On top of all the defensive and attack buff that she gives, she also has a heal, and she also boosts the damage of your troops, which, as I said earlier, if you have all these buffs on top of it, it will just stack up to a very high amount. Now, of course, Aethelflaed also does a lot of AoE damage in a fan shape, and has all these other buffs that slow and prevent damage and all that stuff. So this is a very strong army. Now, you want it to be as centered as possible, so one of these 2 spots usually. It should affect the whole map because of how big the AoE is. And this much, you do not want it to die. It is a Mars that stayed in the backline the entire game. Sometimes I even did this like that, and I put this against an Archer March so that this March never gets hit, while these 4 March are super boosted and super tanky. Now, it will still take damage, and you can heal it when you can, but this is probably the biggest factor in this game. On top of that, my Joan of Arc is talented in the support tree. Now, in the support tree, I have a video on commanders that I did before that explains why this is amazing, and Joan of Arc is probably one of the best epic commanders in the game. Now, the support tree is absolutely brutally insane. It's so good, it's unbelievable that people don't use it more. It is the reason that I win Sunset Canyon against all the whales so easily. This talent itself basically makes all your skill, which costs 1000 rage, give 150 back whenever it's used. On top of this, that gives 9 every time you attack. And there's all these little buffs that make it faster. This one increases the healing and their damage is done if they're healed. Also reduces skill damage taken. And also increases like more damage skill take. Like, it's amazing. There's just so many buffs in here. This also slows marches so that if you have an Aethelfled that's expertise, she will do more damage due to this ability alone. Doesn't matter if the percentage, like I'm only 1 into 5 because the percentage doesn't matter. I don't want them to be slowed by a lot. You just need to be slowed. Now on top of it, I have here this because I'm mostly infantry focused, as I said. So this increases their defense when she's hurt. And eventually I'm going to get this so that there's more troop in this army. Now, having her as a primary basically means that her and her secondary are going to be casting spells all the time. Non-stop. It's crazy. Now, as we said earlier, this expertise is huge buff and 50 rage per second, 4 second to every army in her vicinity. What that means is, like, you're going to basically have 50 rage per second for every army the entire duration of a fight, because this is always up. Especially with the support tree, you never run out of rage. You're just casting. Now, on top of that, you have Aethelfled, who's doing tons of damage and reducing defense and health for other enemies. Now, as we said, if she's casting this every few seconds, everything is debuffed in an AoE. So you're buffing your entire army for full rage and defense and attack, and you're debuffing the entire enemy, and it's almost 100% uptime. It's absolutely brutal. Now, it could be inverse. Aethelfled could be support because she also has the tree. She could be the primary, and she could have Joan as a secondary. It would work the same. It would be perfectly fine. But obviously, my Aethelfled is a bit lower level, so I have inversed the roles. Eventually, she will take over the role, though. But that is probably one of my biggest factors on why I win Sunset and why I won this event. So now, when you're doing the Golden Kingdom, basically you see all of these glowing ones. You can click on them and they'll appear. So I try to go from the outsides so that the chances of the Guardians detected obstructing more tiles. So let's say if here there's a Guardian, he'll obstruct all of these tiles. Now if there's a Guardian in the corner, he only has a few tiles to obstruct. So I try to go like all around. As you see here, he's obstructing 3 tiles. So now I'm going to go around this way. Now, oh, this one's obstructing. So now I'm going to have to kill one. You don't have a choice but to kill some of them. Now, I would avoid killing too many of them that you don't need. Now, when you kill them, they can give a buff and a blessing, but it's a chance to. It's not always. And like the blessings, some of them are amazing, but some of them, they're not worth losing hundreds of thousands of troops. Until later on in the game, you'll get to a point where you have so much healing and so much buff that you'll win more HP by fighting than you'll lose. When that happens, you will want to fight the small guys a lot. But at the beginning, I would focus on basically trying to avoid them, as well as clearing as many fogs as possible while doing so. Now, when you're fighting at the beginning, my strategy is that you try and put one of your tanky AoE army like Sun Tzu here in a corner here. Like you see, he's going to take these 3 armies on him, while these 2 are going to go against 2 armies each. So these ones are not going to take a lot of damage. Sun Tzu is going to take the most damage out of everybody, but he has Richard, and he's an AoE commander who's my strongest commander with the most equipment by far. So it is better to focus all the damage on him, because if I then walk into a healing portal or a healing building, I will heal him up to 50% of his HP. So I can lose up to 50% and heal him up fully. If I lose 10% on every army, I cannot heal 10% on every army. I can only heal 1 army for 50%. So it's better to maximize the damage on 1 champion, especially for the first, I would say, like 10 levels. Now see here, I got my first relic. So they go here. You see you can have 9 of them. So as I said earlier, don't get up to 9 and then have other ones wasted you can't use. Now this relic, basically you click, you use it, and you would target a Guardian. And now that Guardian would do 45% less damage to you. So that's very good for the boss on every level. Not at the beginning though. Try and keep them until you have to use them, because early levels are a lot easier. Now you see this level here. I have to switch it around a little bit. So I'm just going to do this like this. Now again, I'm putting my Sensu against all these armies. At the beginning, army composition doesn't really matter. They have 20,000 troops. They're all going to die very easily. If you really want to min-max, you can check what they have. But obviously, these are all kind of like mixed armies. Like this is archers, so it would be my cavalry is going to hit them. Now this is all infantry, so these I have a bit of archers in them. And he's just going to tank all of the rest here. See, again, most of the damage goes on this one and a little bit on this one. So that's optimally the way I want to do it. So here I have defense for the front row, or all infantry deal more damage, or increase all your troop damage. Now I'm going to go for this because I want my front row to be tanky as hell so that I can get to the last levels that are very difficult. So eventually you'll get to a point where you get this yellow guy that is the boss of the level. He is the strongest guy on the field, and then once you kill him, you can click on here and go to the next level. Now I will do so, and he has the chance to drop the best blessings, so you don't have a choice to kill them, so this is where you get most of your blessings that are major important. These guys are also pretty good blessings. Now these guys, they're not as good the blessings, so I would avoid as many of these little green guys as possible. This one can be worth fighting at the beginning because I know I'm going to destroy him very easily, and I want to clear a lot of the fog because it's easier to get more fog at the beginning to uncover buildings that will buff you and recruit armies than to do so later on when these armies are much stronger. So it doesn't matter which order you kill them in. I'll kill this one first, and then I'll try and explore all the fog around. So as you see here, boom, I have all of these items to choose from. As I said earlier, this is the best item in the game, probably by far, because an extra army by itself is huge. Now, I don't have a 6th army yet, but for sure I will one day. This is also amazing if you could get it, but obviously this is just too good to pass. Like, I can't let this go. So for now, I'm just gonna take it and wait until I find something. So you see here, I uncovered this floor. I already killed the Guardian, so I could already go to the next floor, but I want to make sure that I get as many buffs as I can at the beginning, like I said. Now, I just found this reinforcement camp. Now, this is amazing. I said you have to get those, obviously, like it's just too good. Now, these are my 3 choices. Now, as I said here, like it looks like they're expertise, and I don't think they are because, as I said earlier, it goes to what you have as a commander. So I don't even own this commander, and my Martel is pretty good. Here, I don't have these very strong. Meanwhile, my Cao Mina is almost expertise. So this is probably the much better March that will do more work for me. So I'm going to get this for sure. Now, as I said earlier, I finally got the item that gives me 1 more troop. So here, you see 5 out of 6. So I can add 1 more troop here. And it comes with a bit of T4, and a bit of T5 and a lot of T4. So this is an amazing troop. Now, as I said, I'm doing front row mostly. So I'm going to put it in the front row. Then now I have 6 armies. This makes the odds in your favor so much better. Like, the faster you can get that item, the better. It's just absolutely insane. And you will see I will take so much less damage. Like, every time I do these levels, I take 10,000 out of a million units. It's really not a lot at all. Now, you see here, I've gotten this one. Now, this is a healing hut. As you see, 50% of selected troop strength. Now, I don't have a lot of troop that took a lot of damage. As I said earlier, my very tanky troop is this one, and this one has been taking a bit of damage. So obviously the best value here would be to heal this one. And this one, once it's lower HP, I can use the next healing hut on him. So I'm going to do this. Because you want the most value out of anything. Obviously, the more units you can heal, the better. Like, it just makes more sense. So as you see here, I've cleared the entire floor here. Now, I've gotten a Wheel of Fortune, I've gotten a healing thing, and the boss is alive. So before I go and heal, I'm going to kill the boss, because then I will obviously try and heal 1 troop that took more damage. Now, you see here, this is starting to get a bit harder. The troops that I'm fighting are a bit stronger. Now, this is when you want to start kind of like countering what you're fighting. So this is a full cavalry army with a mixed army behind. So I'm going to put a full infantry army in front of it, and I'm going to put Joan of Arc just to help because they have a bit of archer as well, so it will help against this mixed army, and it will buff more because she's in the middle here. As well as this is all infantry, this is mixed, so this army has quite a lot of archers, so I'm going to put this one behind here so that the archers go into this. Now, it's a bit of min-maxing, it's not amazing. Maybe even here, see archers against this will die fast, and then these will help. Of course, this is not like my best setup right now. This is kind of still mixed, but if there was full-on archers and full-on infantry and full-on cavalry, you basically try and counter with what you have. If you can't, obviously try to do the best you can. It's better to put cav against cav and inf against inf than it is to put the counter, obviously. Like, you don't want to get countered either. So try and counter or try and match, basically, is what I'm trying to say. You see here the Disc of Destiny, so I'm going to show you, as you see, the chances of you getting some of these buffs here are like very low, but some of them are amazing. Otherwise, you're just going to get currency, which we're going to get to spend right away on the next level. So obviously, I'm probably going to get some shitty thing. Okay, so this actually is very good buff, 10% more rage. So now we're going to go to the next floor. Here, there we go. Now this is the number 4. This is the floor where you get a chest. Obviously, I've already done mine because I've completed it. But once you get here, you also have this store. And this is also random. It's never the same items. But you get to buy with the currency shown up here. So I'm going to go through a bit of these items quickly. Now, these are obviously all healing. Now, this is 20% one army, 5% all troops. And this is 7% all troops. Now, as I said earlier, I have 6 troops total now because I recruited 1. So if I do 5% all troop, this is like 30% total. So this is much better than this. Obviously, if you can afford all of it, do so. And I'm going to do so because I can afford all of it. But if you can't, much better to get this all troop 5% and then all troop 7%. As well as it is much better to save those until later on when you have maybe 7 or 8 armies. Because it will apply to every single troop. So I would really recommend that you always buy the ones that heal everything as much as you can. Now, this is one of the other items that you'll get a lot. It's a bolt. There's a few variety. There's an epic one and there's a blue one. They basically just reduce the enemy troop like by 20 or 30%. It's very good, but you'll find a lot of them. I don't think it's worth buying unless you were very rich. But in this case, I'm going to buy out all the healing because healing is key in this game. I keep saying that, but it's amazing. Another thing that's worth buying eventually would be elite armor. Basically, you select an army and you take less damage from them and it can stack up to 80%. So you could use 2 of them, like a blue one and an epic one, and you'd get 80% damage reduction. Now, these are good to keep for the last 5 levels. The elite bosses, if they do 80% less damage, you will beat them with 1 army. It's insane, but you don't want to use them at the beginning for stuff that you can beat very easily. So as you see, here are all my items, a lot of healing. I got a few of these shield drops from walking around. You'll find them everywhere. And then this is one other of the items. It's a binding shackles. So I'm going to go on the next level. I'm going to show you how that one works. Obviously, again, I recommend you use this a bit later on. Now, I'm obviously just doing this for the video. So it's for purposes of showing you only. So see if I'm exploring a few things here. So I have a perfect example here. Now, these 2 fog blocks, I can't access because this guy's blocking it. Now, I don't want to fight this guy. He's powerful. He's purple, and I don't want to fight him. So what you do? Now, as I said, I have 9 items, so I might as well just use something. So I'm going to use this. Boom. Click here. As you see, he's locked for 3. So that means I can uncover 3 fogs. Boom. Now, that was very useless. As I said, do this later on. You don't need to do this early game. You could have just ignored this fog and just keep going until you find the Guardian. But of course, if you have only a few fog block left and you don't see the Guardian for the next level, then is when, instead of fighting, you can log a few of them and discover the fog around them. Now, if I use it on him, this would not reveal. There's 2 of them blocking, so don't waste it either, obviously. But yeah, that's one of the ways to use this item. It's probably one of the least impactful items in this game right now. As you see here, I've already uncovered the boss. See, I go around, see all the stuff that I get for free. So it's very good to explore as much as possible. But I'm getting to a point where my troops are getting hurt. I don't need to fight all this stuff. Even if there's a bit of a buff here and there, I mean, sometimes it'll be worth it, but I don't think getting a 5% healing buff here wouldn't be worth losing 15% of my army. You know what I mean? Like, it's not worthwhile every time. Obviously, it's up to you and it will depend on each level. But if I find the boss and I'm lucky, I just kill it and go to the next level. I prefer getting further in the game than trying to maybe get lucky because it's a gamble. And if you lose your gamble, you're going to lose units for no reason. Now, see here, I'm getting to a point where this army is 2.5 million and this army is 3.7 million. Of course, I have all these buffs from the blessings, so I would still be much stronger than him. But I have so many relics. Now it's time to maybe start using them. So I'm going to use this one, the less strong one of the 2, on this guy. Nothing else happens, you don't see anything, but he is basically going to do less damage to me. So it's basically something that's worth doing once you get to that point. So here I'm going to go and fight this army quickly. Now you see, I'm losing quite a few units still. It's getting a bit harder, but I'm starting to get to a point where some of my armies start healing, and that is why you're trying to get a lot of healing items. Now, I unlocked one of the items here that I think is also absolutely amazing. Every time you use a skill, there's a chance to do it a second time. Now, this is applying to Richard's heal, and it's applying to all the AoE damage that you're doing. It applies to all the buff that you're doing. Obviously, you're not going to get buffed twice, but it still has a chance to basically make it so that you generate the rage twice from the talents and stuff. So this is another, like like I said, anything that heals, anything that generates rage, and anything that does front army, you should get all the time. So here in an example, I reached number 11, and you see this arrow tower. Now it does a person damage of my HP every time, so you basically just have to get to it as fast as possible. So just fight whatever's in your way, and you just really need to get to it as soon as you can. See here, boom. So now I'm level 14, so I'm getting pretty close. It's getting a bit harder. As you see, I have quite a few troops recruited, and I'm doing okay. My troops are like half HP. I keep getting a lot of healing items, and I keep using them, and it's doing okay. But I want to showcase some of the items here. Now, I wouldn't use them on for 14 per se, but maybe for 15, and then for 17, 18, 19 is where you should really start using some of these items. Now, these detectors, I'll just use them all here just to show you what it looks like. See, if I use them, it shows me all of the small minions, and now here all of the big minions, and then this one would show me the boss. So basically, these floors, you don't really have to kill anything at all. Of course, you have to kill a few to get there, but you basically can avoid everything, and you know all of this is empty fog, so that you just go around. Now, of course, I have to kill this one first, so I'm going to explore this, and I'm going to kill this guy. Now, of course, I didn't get very lucky. Here, I can't really get to this without killing a lot of these guys. So I'm going to use this other item that forces the guardian to move. So boom, I click him there. He's gone. Now I can access it. I destroy it. Now I know this is empty. I know this is empty. I know this is empty. This is empty. So you basically just collect everything. It basically makes that level almost a freebie. Now, as I said, I wouldn't use all of them on the same level, not this early in the game. But eventually, like, I'm getting close to 20. So this is when you kind of start using them. So as you see here, I've managed to reach level 19 again. This is the last floor. I've used an item that let me see the boss, so I know where he's here. So I need to just get to him. So I'm going to kill this unit first. It looks here. I'm just going to make sure to counter everything properly. Now Cav against this. You can't always optimize perfectly, but I'm just trying to make sure that I have the counter of all of these units. And as you see, I'm taking some damage, but some of them are also healing. So as I said, you're basically just so buffed from all these items that you get. You can get quite far quite easily. Another one here, I'm just healing more than I'm taking damage basically. And then here we go, we're just gonna explore all of this. I'm basically on the last boss. This is the last fight, so I have saved up way too many items than what I should have, to be honest, but I can just use them all on here. Make sure that I beat this guy very easily. Now this should be a walk in the park. Now this army is very weak, so you can always change. If you click on the commander here, you'll see the other armies. Now these are all half dead, but this would obviously be better than completely dead. Now I'm already kind of countering the units here. Cav against Cav. There we go. This against Cav. And I will put a little, maybe this one here, so that it hits the archers with the Cav in here. Actually, maybe like this. There you go. So now we're just going to go with this. We're obviously going to win. Now, even, like, look at this. I just won and I healed more than I lost. Now, this doesn't matter. Obviously, I would use probably this one because, again, I said heal. Heal is always amazing. This is actually pretty good as well, but healing. But now I'm done. Floor 20, here we go. First try, not even a retry. I just got it. No, I don't get a reward twice, but this is how you do it. So again, I did even better than my first run on this one. All of my armies are almost like not full HP, but they're mostly half HP. And I still even have relics that I never got to use. I never got to use this because none of my troops ever died. So this run went very well. I got a lot of good luck, a lot of good good healing items, I would say. But again, it's all about the blessings. Now I'm going to go through them slowly here so you can see. Again, front row, healing, and rage regeneration. Troop capacity is also very good if you can get it. It basically just gives you more units. You don't have to full up the army or heal them up. It'll just give you more units in the army. And some of the decreased enemy stuff basically debuffs the enemy. So when I couldn't get front row or healing or rage generation, I would get one of these instead. But my priority is always still front row stuff. So here we go. We're gonna go through them quite quickly here, just so you see them all. So as you see here, there's so much front row stuff. My front row army was just too strong. I just don't lose anything at the end, and I just heal more than I take damage. So this is how you do it, guys. So thanks for watching. I know this is a bit of a long video, but this is how I did it twice in a row to beat level 20 with only commanders that are available before the first KVK. As always, you can join our Discord, which is in the description below, and come and ask us questions directly. We'll be happy to help you. You can also comment below here, and we'll be happy to give you an answer if we can, and help you as much as we can. Of course, if you're on our server, feel free to message me if you need some help with this event. I'll make sure to try and help you as much as I can. And we have some very important guides on our channel, such as Commander and tips and tricks and mistakes to avoid. So those are very important because it goes into this video and shows you how to build your commanders and your army and your city properly in order to be optimized and be able to defeat this content quite easily. So feel free to check them out. The playlists are also in the description below. As always, thanks for watching. We appreciate your support. If you like this kind of content, make sure to leave a like and a subscribe. It really helps our channel, and we'll be coming out with this content really often. We have a lot of games coming up as well. So thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned.